Let's step back to the story of Hannah, the miserably depressed woman in 1 Samuel chapter 1, who fell before God in the temple, vented all the disappointment, pain, bitterness, and anger in her soul, experienced the relief of transformation, and stood up to leave. Before she could get away from where she had encountered God and her transformation, a highly respected person walks up to her and dumps on her. While she was pouring out her heart to God, the man of God was watching the movement of her mouth. How do you feel when someone crosses the line into a place or thing you consider sacred, intimate, or private? Does it matter to you who crossed the line? As she stood from where she had fallen before God, the priest stormed up to her and pounced on her. Pastor, for God, that we walk not by sight, neither do we judge or know anyone according to the flesh. The preacher called an innocent woman names in the house of God. He called her drunk, careless, reckless, vile. Take your pick. What names have you been called? Who called you those names? Do you have any idea how they came about the names? What is your response when you are called names, be they true or false? Instead of fighting back with accusation and insult, she delivered an answer of peace to her accuser. Hannah chose to respect the man who had disrespected her. I had an experience some time ago with someone God had specifically cautioned me to be mindful of how I respond to them. This person was so disrespectful on this occasion, and I not only refused to be dumped on, I kindly excused myself. As I was thinking through it much later, I realized that although I had forgotten the caution God gave me earlier on, I could continue to be respectful because that's just who I am. It's the way I treat everyone, irrespective of how they treat me. I just apply my safe distance principle, which is to remove myself from disrespectful situations or distance myself from disrespectful people. How do you respond when people are disrespectful toward you? There is never a good reason to be disrespectful to anyone, no matter what they have done or said. We are not respectful to people because they are respectful to us. No, we are respectful to everyone, irrespective of who they are and what they do, because that is who we are. That is how we roll. We don't pay back evil for evil. We overcome evil with good. There is so much power when we choose the path less traveled. Remember, the next time someone is disrespectful to you, to not forget who you are and become like them. Always sow the seed of honor, and whatever seed you sow will return back to you. Back to Hannah and the preacher. The preacher's judgment and verbal condemnation was enough to send Hannah spiraling down the hole of misery she just escaped. But not this time, not this new woman. She has been beaten and been down for so long that she wasn't going down anymore for anybody, not for anything, true or false. Instead of crumbling, crying and hiding and starving as usual, Hannah stood up. She stood up to the priest. Gently, quietly, yet firmly, she stood up to her accuser. Have you reached the point where you realized you've been down for so long, you refuse to go down anymore for anyone, whatever the reason? That is a choice only you can make. For as long as you are still okay to go down, for as long as you can accommodate people and situations dumping on you, trust me, they will. But the day you say enough is enough, you will learn the word barrier, barrier. You will learn to stop putting up barriers to triggers that push you down. Putting up and managing barriers are very essential for your healing and recovery. It doesn't matter who that person is, the relationship or their status. If they and their actions are not helping you to get better, then it's time to stand up and make your move. You and you alone must get to that point where you refuse to be discouraged by naysayers. We all have them, often too close for comfort, but we must find ways to get them off our back, especially at those vulnerable moments when we already feel overwhelmed. Let's replay the scenario once again. A well-respected priest attacked Hannah while she was seeking help from the right person. She didn't get upset. That's the goal. Get you all worked up and walking up and down the walls on your hair. Thereafter, go home and feel miserable at your behavior, then sink into a more oppressive depression for your even poorer behavior. The other side of it is to say nothing. Lock up the anger and frustration inside. Abandon everyone and everything. Run back into hiding and start the painful process of seething and cooking yourself to death. But no, Hannah had no excess emotions and unresolved issues hanging over her head because she just vented everything out into the right ear. Every time we overreact, it's not about the person or the situation, no matter how horrible they come. It is the excessive emotions stirred up inside and the unresolved hurts that their words and actions brush against that compel us to explode. It's not what they did or said, it's the state of the heart, which is rather worsened by what they did or said, that leads to those explosions. Stop blaming them for your explosive reactions. Find a healthy vent and let them help you identify those issues trapped inside so you can start the process of healthy venting and healing. And while you're at it, feel free to apply the safe distance principle. Remove yourself from people and situations that aggravate you until you heal enough and can relate peacefully with them. Hannah respectfully stood up. Listen, you gotta respect yourself, even at your worst moments, even if no one else respects you. Self-respect is a must if you must earn the respect of others. Respectfully stand up to those attacking you. Don't get into the mess they are stirring. Not your circus, not your monkey. Respectfully address whatever you need to address if you're up to it. Otherwise, carry your dignity out of there and keep increasing the distance between you and all that negative energy. You don't need it. You are the chief guardian of your peace. You must guard your inner peace jealously. Don't let people who don't care mess it up for you. Don't let people who have decided to be a mess bring their mess into your space. Respectfully stand up and defend your peace. Walk away if that is the only way you know to guard it. But do whatever you can to keep them and their mess as far away as possible. Some of us give up our hard-won peace and victory and slump right back into the pit of depression because of people who don't know any better and don't care. But come on, they have nothing to lose. The winner takes it all, they say. So every time you choose to lose a piece of your peace and victory because of what they said or did or didn't, you go lower. Why would you do that? This is your life, your journey. You must choose to go all the way or you won't go far at all. You must choose to guard every gate or you will lose them eventually. Hannah chose to guard the victory she had won that day, and not even the priest, who didn't know or care about her and her situation, could be used to steal a piece from her. Don't you give up and go back because of them. Respectfully stand up when occasion demands it. Address what you need to and walk away with your shoulders squared out and your head held high. Even if you're crumbling inside, you don't show your weakness to everyone, beloved. You must guard your vulnerability or it will be exploited to your demise. You must choose to stand up to obstructions, indifference, condemnation, and attacks whose goal is to keep you down, Your goal is to stand up and stay up. And that is what matters here. You want out of the hole of depression. You want to keep going up in your healing and recovery journey. And you want to stay as far away from that hole as possible. Well, it's up to you. Keep taking the steps, one at a time. One step may not seem a lot today, but in a week, in months, and years, you will look back and be astounded by the cumulative results of those little steps every day. People will be people. Things can prove unpredictable, but your life is your choice. Use it well. Hannah stood her ground, and from the exalted priest to her co-wife, she got them all off her back. From those without and those within, she maintained her distance to safeguard her peace and victory. If she could do it, if I could do it, trust me, you too can do it. One step at a time, one day at a time. Hannah returned to the same place where she had been miserably depressed, but it was a changed woman who came back. She came back to eat and drink and be merry. That was her choice. It's hard to say this and may come across as mean, but take it from someone who has been there many times. You can choose to eat and be merry, just like you can choose to starve and be miserable. You have the power to choose which way to go and what to do. What you don't have the power over is the consequences of your choices. Whatever you choose determines where you end up. So pick your choices with care and caution. Don't choose based on how you're feeling, but instead based on what you want to feel and where you want to end up. You are the key determinant of which way things will continue. You can choose today if things will continue to go down or start to go up. You can do something about it today. You may not be able to do a lot now, but every little change you can make means a lot to the overall journey. Like Hannah, will you commit to change your strategies and responses to the triggers that drag you into depression? How will you do things differently? May God help you with what you can't as you commit to what you can. Amen. Don't forget to subscribe and share this with family and friends. Be inspired. You are a star, and it's your time to shine.